Hey everyone, I'm Nelia from Nelly Works. Welcome to my podcast, Nelly Talks, a careers focused show for those who are considering careers in tech industry or maybe looking for a change of direction in this space. We will be interviewing different speakers in this field to understand their journeys, the hurdles they face, how they overcame those, and any tips and hints that they would like to share on the way. Hello, today we have Valerie with us on the call. Valerie, thank you for being here. It'd be great if you could introduce yourself to our listeners.
I can say myself that in a nutshell, I'm a marketing and business development leader with over 15 years experience of working in tech companies in Europe and in the US, the companies of all sizes, like from startups to giants like Vodafone and Turkcell. I've been achieving amazing growth and building winning marketing and business development strategies and leading the teams is my jam. Beyond the business role, I'm a big believer in the importance of diversity, inclusion, and I love promoting the importance globally. This what truly fuels me in my passion for strategic marketing in tech companies, and I'm committed to promoting the global recognitions of the companies that I work for.
Thank you for that summary. I think we align on some of the interests around diversity, inclusion, in tech in general. Clearly, you've had a successful career this far. How did you kind of get into this world of marketing, growth, and sales and tech industry? I don't know if that's something you always knew you wanted to do, kind of growing up, or is something you fell into. It'd be interesting to hear how you got into this career path.
It's a very interesting question because as a kid, I dreamt of becoming an international lawyer. And the idea of bringing cultures and fostering international development was my main dream. And looking back, my current role allows me to connect people with different backgrounds worldwide through digital channels and establish international partnerships. It feels like a wonderful extension of my initial dream. And the classic way of entering new markets requires a number of factors that affect the success of expansion. For example, the market research, the financial strategy development, and logistics supply chain, some administrative work, and just understanding the legal and regulatory landscape. These are the real must-haves, and they are also included in my role while expanding to new markets. And at the same time, it became clear to me that the productive communication is the key to the successful execution of the tasks. Namely, I'm expanding to European markets, and I'm working closely with local country managers from Sweden, from Poland, and we're localizing a lot of materials. So we need to make sure that we're on the same page and we speak the same language with our clients and potential customers. I even had experience of working with Arabic markets where I also worked with local marketers and sales managers, and I learned how to make such diverse international teams productive.
It sounds like it's truly international environment that you had exposure to. I think I've actually shared your dream when I was younger of becoming a lawyer. My career path into that did not go beyond degree to the disappointment of my parents, unfortunately. But it worked out at the end. It really comes across that you enjoy connecting businesses and taking them to international scale. And are there any kind of typical challenges that you face in your role? For anyone who's potentially considering similar career step?
There are challenges, obviously, because entering new market, you would face the protectionism. It's like a white sheet of paper when you don't know anything, and you make research analysis and hypothesis, which you then check with potential partners, with potential clients. So you do cost dev of the product, the new market, and you pivot the product for the new audiences. And I think this iterative and very curious approach helps also to be open and proactive by making new connection in the market, entering professional societies, working with influencers and experts in the markets helps a lot. The initial research is planning and planning like a homework is also important because you need to understand the market potential, market size, finances, logistics, whether it is worth starting with this market expansion or that market expansion, and how to choose and prioritize the markets, and how to gather a team and to budget this go-to-market strategy and to sell it to the main stakeholders. There are a lot of things to develop and to manage just to make it happen. Initially, I got my master's in international economics and I started business development. And I realized that a lot of the startups require product marketing and go to market expertise. And to extend and to gain this expertise, I entered the Chartered Institute of Marketing, and I acquired diploma in strategic marketing and in digital marketing and master in metrics. So this helped me a lot to understand how to tailor strategies for this or that audience, and also it taught me how to not to make strategies like one product or one strategy fits it all, but on the contrary, to dive deeper into personalization, to learn and understand your client better, and to make the difference for this client, and to find such a deep pain that he's going to pay for, and the solution that will be the right fit for this audience. So these are a lot of things to be taken into account to become successful in the market. And the team is primarily important factor to be successful.
Do you feel like having like professional certifications, being a belonging to like, for example, marketing bodies in a relevant country is quite important for anyone who's developing career in this field?
Yeah, I think that the certification is important because it's the certain vocabulary that is required. For instance, if you want to work as a marketer in the UK, you need to understand how the marketers work and how they speak and how they communicate and what is their perception of the audience of the market of communication, and how they are used to do it. So those frameworks that I learned are important to me because I'm using them. I'm explaining to the UK stakeholders of the marketing concepts, and to make it clear for them, I also need to speak the same language in terms of the strategy and managing risks and managing budgets and managing audiences, teams, and so on. So I think it is important. What is more important is that I found out and realized that the domain expertise and domain certification is also important. So to work in cybersecurity, I need to understand how CISOs and CIOs think, what the KPIs they have, how they manage their business from the inside, because we're preparing and selling solutions for them. So I need to understand what frameworks they use. So I'm taking the cybersecurity leadership course now to understand how they manage cybersecurity in enterprises. This allows me to understand their problems, what they face, how they think, and to fit these solutions and to tailor messaging accordingly.
Gotcha. No, it's really interesting. I know we both initially met around the time when you were starting to look or looking for a new role in UK. How did you find kind of technical domain in like a local kind of UK market, whether it's as if like a from job seeking perspective, also as from like a marketing perspective to where you worked before in Ukraine? I know you always work on an international scale, but did you see kind of any drastic differences in terms of how tech companies approach this domain, and also how they approach hiring in this domain?
Yeah, I think hiring is a pain in the UK because there are very high borders for the people from other countries to go through. For instance, the systems that analyze the keywords in CVs, they filter their CVs, and you need to really understand how to tailor the CV for the system to go through, or how to sit in front of the recruiters. This is and how to make the recruiter understand that you have the relevant market experience. Because if you just came from a different country, how can you prove that you can manage, and how can you understand the audience in the UK if you came from a different culture, different background? So you really need this experience. And I had two interim roles, and it's not something that I really wanted to get, but I had to take some contracts to get fit according to the criteria of the UK market. So this journey wasn't straightforward, and I think it's very similar to many candidates who come from the UK. And I've been speaking to different CMOs and head of marketing who came from other countries. Almost all of them had interim jobs when they first came. So I think when you're trying and when you're aiming to reach what you want, you will actually find yourself in the team and environment which is friendly for people from different countries, which do not only manifest inclusivity and they're very diverse, they are open to people with different backgrounds on papers, on the principles like written on their websites. But the reality shows that there is unconscious bias, and that not all the recruiters and hiring managers are ready to recruit international professionals. And I think it's something that the companies need to realize and understand, whether they are ready to work with people from a diverse background, whether they're ready to provide mentorship for them, whether they're ready to provide onboarding for the person to feel comfortable, insecure, to make this and to give this added value to the company afterwards. So this is a very fruitful aim, but I think it's very hard to actually implement it.
I'm sorry you haven't had a great hiring experience by the sound of things with many companies. I'd like to say I'm surprised. I think my experience probably would say that I'm not. I think almost it feels like in the industry, there is a lot of still like diversity and inclusion, equity, like in terms of buzzwords, branding on the websites. But companies get this kind of huge agencies to go and design videos. When unfortunately you start looking at the hiring process, a lot of companies, when they actually analyze the data, they see that a lot of candidates from underrepresented communities, and this could be displaced candidates, women, people of with different ethnic background. There are different elements to diversity. They actually drop out. So you might have really diverse pipeline of people you attract in the process, because you talk about it. Obviously the branding looks great, the talent brand looks amazing, but ultimately when you monitor the statistics and conversions, you typically see a big drop between the when the business actually starts speaking to those candidates and then them moving to the final stages of the process. Ultimately, the businesses who are truly interested in having diverse teams, would we all know actually perform better, because diversity of experience is amazing for product development, for services development. Ultimately, these companies that are willing to invest in step further, it could be language training, it could be support with relocation, like all the weird and wonderful things you have to do when we move countries, all of the things that people need to take care of to be actually able to focus on work. There are companies that do it well, but when someone starts, it's like, well, you're here now, good luck. And of course, when you've relocated to a new country, that adjustment period doesn't stop after like 6, 12 months. It's like an ongoing thing. And then you need to invest in mentorships, coaching, and things like that. I think, in fact, those should be things that are available to all employees. This is exactly the purpose of this podcast, to try and educate people that, unfortunately, recruitment process when it comes to candidates who relocated here is very different. And, those biases are alive and kicking. Based on what you've just said, what do you think, HR recruitment teams can do better in order to improve their process and make it more inclusive for talent like yourself?
Yeah, speaking about the initial barrier where the CVs do not qualify. Yeah, so I think for this first phase, it is possible to invite people from underrepresented communities. I think maybe by cooperating with some NGOs who deal with either displaced people or people who are shifting careers, who are like entering the new market, and talk to them and understand what skills and what kind of professionals they're looking for, and then score them maybe in a like closer audience, organizing some speed interviews to understand and to score what people out of a certain number can be good for the company potentially, and then maybe to provide some preparations for the interviews and allowing such people from underrepresented communities speak to hiring managers, speak to recruiters, and then maybe tailor the process according to their needs, and ask them what problems they face by applying like hundreds and hundreds of times to this company and not going through. So I think understanding where the problems are on the way to the hiring manager and to the decision making committee would help the companies to tailor this process better. And I think the problem also, as you said, continue when this person starts working, and the new tools and new environment, new procedures, new products, and the feedbacks is important. Also, the onboarding process, because if the company provides a good onboarding and human to human sessions, and maybe they are providing a body who helps the newcomer to integrate into the culture and understand what the cultural principles and what are the company's values, what do they mean in reality. Because when it's written on paper and the person from a different culture has no clue what it can mean in real work situations, it can be a problem. Also, I think organizing onboarding and communication not only within the department but also with joint departments with whom the person will work also will have to integrate and to show better results. So, what the benefits the company can gain by hiring the person from a different country? I think it's a different way of making decisions. Is maybe a person with a different type of creativity, maybe the person with a new approach and so on. So I think if the company is prepared to work with different people from different backgrounds, it will like make it more efficient in a long-term perspective. But the short-term tactics is much complicated than hiring the person who you're familiar with a similar background and so on.
Absolutely. I think there is, it sounds like being kind of human centric approach to the hiring and onboarding is really important. But also, I think you've picked on a lot of those points. There is a big trend happening in recruitment now to actually look at candidates as you would look at customers. All the things that you apply to customer acquisition, retention, feedback like users should apply to your candidates, because ultimately you want to deliver good experience. If you want to have good employees that stay with you, that then keep talking about your brand, recommend you to their friends. And there needs to be, like, I think for many brands, whole level of work that needs to be done to bring them up to the standard where maybe that commercial brand is, to ensure that that employer brand is on the level. Thank you for highlighting this with loads of practical tips for any kind of TAs or HR leaders that are listening. I'm sure you've been aware, and I know you work in this space as well, about rise of AI in the tech domain, but frankly across most domains, especially kind of last year, huge growth of generative AI with tools like OpenAI and other big tech company bring in loads of different solutions. How do you feel this has impacted your role? Kind of what's your outlook on AI in general, and did you feel like you had to upskill yourself in this space as this technology was developing?
Yeah, Nelly, you're absolutely right. Technology is always evolving, and the rise of AI is super cool, I think, because I feel AI tools are so useful. They make our work more productive, efficient. We can write content faster, we can analyze data faster, and we can target the right audiences. We can choose the keywords in a more structured way and much faster. AI helps me even to optimize marketing campaigns, and I don't worry that AI will change marketers in the near future because we have so much of creative work and strategic human thinking that AI can't substitute us at all. And the human skills, they will be demanded. And AI is like a superpower that helps us to make our marketing efforts to the next level. AI also helps with personalization. We can tailor the content according to our ideal customer profiles to their experiences, to their behaviors, and they can resonate with individual users we're aiming to target, and helps to build real connections in the real world by approaching with personalized messages. As I said at the beginning, that there's no one size fits all because we perceive such generic messages as something which does not resonate with us, and only personalized messages which we understand, which resonate with our everyday life, with our work, they can hit the target. They can make us notice this message in the noise of information that we are abundant. We have so many messages daily on LinkedIn, via email. So it's very hard to just to pick up those genius ideas that we might get from some potential partners. And we simply do not identify those in the noise until there's something striking and personalized comes into the inbox. So I think the main approach is just to the personalization, and having like thousands of clients, it's very hard to do it manually, and this is where AI helps us.
That's a really great view of it, kind of using AI to enhance your skills and kind of focus your energy on, where AI cannot replace humans. It's a lot of strategic decisions, kind of human relationships. And of course, AI can be biased, of course, based on the data you use to train it. But yeah, I mean, from efficiencies, it disrupted recruitment space heavily. So I think I'm of the same opinion. I don't see it replacing professionals, but I certainly think it's something that people should embrace as much that they can. Also, thank you so much for sharing so many kind of golden nuggets of information and your experiences, in your career, but also kind of locally in UK job market. To wrap us up, Valerie, what advice would you give your younger self, or perhaps anyone who's considering entering similar career path as yourself, or kind of changing direction into marketing growth and sales?
Yeah, so as I changed the direction from business development and focused more on strategic marketing, I learned a lot of how to shift. And I've been waiting for some time, not starting this shift. And I think that the main advice would be not wait and do now what you want to do, and don't be afraid to take the step outside of your comfort zone and explore new opportunities. I think what is helpful to me is that I never stop learning and growing as a professional. So the advice would be also to stay curious, stay passionate about what interests you, never give up. And like, it's very obvious, but fake it until you make it. So the more you fake, the more you do something wrong, the more you learn and do it better. And as you said, that AI has some bias, and you have to use it consciously, because it's about managing risks, about the managing information sources, and about data protection and so on. So I think it's so important for all the professionals who want to develop their career is to have some security skills in place, because our world is the world of information, but how you deal with information is the key. So you need to manage it securely. You need to respect the data privacy of your clients and partners and so on. So I think that we live in the a world where different domains are merging with themselves. So, like, marketing is not only about marketing, it's also about how you treat the data you work with. So, I think this is important to dive deeper and be focused on your role, but also to be curious and to merge all the things that interest you and which help you to become the better version of yourself as a professional.
That's great advice. I think applies to kind of beyond marketing growth roles, and certainly I think really very relevant to the space you work in now, which is cybersecurity and tech and AI. I'm sure that kind of your career in UK is just started. I can't wait to see you continue to grow and be successful. And thank you so much for sharing so many useful tips today. It's been a pleasure to have you on podcast. And yeah, I think our audience has benefited from many useful insight. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you to all our lovely listeners for sticking with us. I hope you found this useful, and please do share, like, etc. Check out our next episode that comes out in 2 weeks' time.